Today I would like to tell you something about the novel Uncle Tom's Cabin, or Life Among the Lowly, written by Harriet Beecher Stowe, and how important this novel was in American history. I'm going to discuss with you in this PowerPoint the contents of the novel, who is Harriet Elizabeth Beecher Stowe, how the book came to be published, reactions and impact to the book, creation and popularization of stereotypes, and a conclusion. Uncle Tom's Cabin was an anti-slavery novel published in 1852, and in the first year of its publication sold over more than 245,000 copies in the United States and 1 million copies were sold in Great Britain. 3 years after it was published, it was called the most popular novel of our day. It is said that this novel helped lay the groundwork for the Civil War, this according to Will Kaufman. What is the novel about? The novel is about a slave called Tom on the Shelby plantation in Kentucky, who has to be sold to pay for the Shelby's family debt, and about Eliza, the mother of the 4-year-old Henry, who will be sold together with Tom. Eliza then takes her son Henry and flees, meets with her husband, and they escape to Canada. Tom, on the way to the auction, saves a little girl, Eva Sinclair, from drowning, and as a reward is bought by the Sinclairs. He is treated fairly well, but they also have to sell Tom to settle debts, and Tom is bought by a cruel man named Tom Legree, who beats his slaves. Mr. Shelby, in the meantime, has been looking for Tom to buy him back, but when he finds him at the Legree plantation, Tom is very near death from beating and mistreatment. After Tom dies, Shelby frees all his slaves. The novel ends with a statement that slavery is indeed a very cruel and evil institution and that should be abolished. Who was Harriet Elizabeth Beecher Stowe? Harriet Elizabeth Beecher was born in Litchfield, Connecticut, on June 14, 1811. Harriet studied at a girls' school run by her sister Catherine. At 21, she was a member of the Semicolon Club, a literary salon and social club. There she met her husband, Calvin Eli Stowe. He was very opposed against slavery, and together they supported the Underground Railroad. The Underground Railroad helped to house fugitive slaves temporarily until they could continue their way to freedom. She was a teacher at the Hartford Female Academy and an active abolitionist, and was against cruelty against slaves, and decided to write Uncle Tom's Cabin as a protest to the brutalities committed to slaves. Stowe was one of the founders of the Hartford Art School, which became a part of the University of Hartford. She died in 1896. How the book came to be published. When in 1850 the Congress passed the Fugitive Slave Law, prohibiting assistance to fugitives, Stowe wrote, the editor, Gamaliel Bailey, of the weekly anti-slavery journal National Era, and told him that she planned to write a story about the slavery. I feel now that the time has come when even a woman or a child who can speak a word for freedom and humanity is bound to speak. I hope every woman who can write will not be silent. She then asked information from freedom narratives, anti-slavery newspapers for the accounts, and so she started to compose her story. In June 1851, when she was 40, Uncle Tom's Cabin was published in the National Era on a weekly basis, but it was called The Man That Was a Thing. It was soon changed to Life Among the Lowly. The complete story was published as a book in March 20, 1852. Stowe got her inspirations for the novel from the stories of Josiah Henson, who was a former escaped slave who made it to Canada and helped other fugitive slaves. The book portrayal of the impact of slavery captured the nation's attention. It added to the debate about abolition and slavery and aroused opposition in the South. Reactions and impact to the book. After publication, it ignited a firestorm of protest from many people in the South. Novelists, slavery supported, and it was very much criticized. They claimed that the book was totally false, while others said the novel was criminal and slanderous. Booksellers were forced to leave towns just because they sold the novel. Stowe herself got threatening letters and even a package containing a slave's ear. So many Southern writers started writing their own novels to prove Stowe was giving wrong information about slavery in the South, because they said that she had never seen with her own eyes that slaves were being mistreated. One of the Southern writers, William Gilmore Simms, wrote an anti-Tom novel named The Sword and the Distaff. Another one was Mary Henderson Eastman, and she wrote Aunt Phyllis's Cabin. In response to these criticisms, Stowe published A Key to Uncle Tom's Cabin, where she documented the truth about slavery and how the Uncle Tom's Cabin came to be the novel. This book was also a success. Many people, including politicians, became opposed to slavery. The mixture of concerns for the welfare of slaves and regional conflicts between the North and South started a 4-year war where one part of the country was against the other. I will not tell you too much about the Civil War because somebody else is going to give a presentation about that. It is said that after the outbreak of the Civil War, Stowe went to Washington to meet President Lincoln, and that he greeted her by saying, "So, you are the little woman who wrote the book that started this great war. I thank you for your attention and I hope you like this presentation.